So good afternoon, everyone. I know there'll be others joining. If they're not on time, they missed the beginning, but they can always watch the recording. Nice to see you all. I'm Lisa Ware, as you know. And today I decided it would be a great idea to actually talk about objections, okay? Because I know lots of people have them, and sometimes people don't know how to answer them. But I'm going to start first of all and preface everything with, it's all about how you communicate with people. Now, I personally haven't said talk to people, because talking to people, it could be talking at them, and communication is something that is all about listening. And it's also about watching things like body language. So if you was meeting someone, for example, at a 20k giveaway event, everything would be about the interaction between you and them and the discussion that would involve. If you're talking on the phone, it's all about listening. It's about asking the right questions. Because if you ask the right questions and you get answers, then what you're doing is building genuine rapport. And you're building on that somebody realizes that you care about them, that you're actually listening to them. All right, this is very, very important. Okay, so before any of the objections I've got written down here, and thank you very much, Lindsay, for yours, because I thought that was great as well. I'm going to start off with something which is plainly obvious, but I know a lot of people join this business and they don't become a customer. If you're not a customer, first of all, you have no authenticity. You have not got a flipping clue what goes on. You don't experience it yourself. You don't know whether anything's any good. Today on one of the teams, somebody asked, would Ultra be sufficient to watch Netflix? Now, it made me smile because this guy's been in for donkey's years, okay? And I thought to myself, so what are you running at home? That was my first thoughts. What are you actually using at home? Because here I am, ladies and gentlemen, on Zoom with you with a fantastic 11 megabits per second, because I am 1.5 miles from the cabinet. But I know, hand on heart, this thing works. We have over 2,000 channels that are all internet based, and everything is working on Ultra with 11 megabits per second. Now, I can honestly say, hand on heart, when I upload this recording to YouTube, well, that takes a few hours because I get less than 0.4 megabits upload, okay, sort of standard for the country. But I've accepted that. And yes, I could pay out, and I could pay, they want something like about £1,500 for a company called Wessex to put a private line in, fibre to the premises. But as I said to Steve Critch the other night, I want to be authentic, because then I feel all the time I have integrity, and I can actually say to people, hand on heart, I know this thing works. So the first thing to say to you is, if you haven't got these services, why not? Now, it may be because you're currently in massive contracts, and that's fine. Okay, that's absolutely fine. All right, those have to run out, but in every way possible, you should be becoming a customer, because that will actually give you masses of confidence. Okay, so setting up the appointment actually will be the thing that will stop so many objections. All right, it will actually stop so many objections. It's not true, because if you set it up right and you build the rapport, by the time that person has left what we call the sphere of sale, that's that area that you and they were together, and that might be over the phone or it might be in person, they actually already feel pretty confident that they're doing the right thing by wanting to have a meeting with you. If you think about it, that is just so basic, it's not true. If there are loads of doubts at the moment they've left you, they're going to go off and find objections, aren't they? If you think about it, right, if you set it up right, it's going to work right. Now, I did quite a few appointments in July. In fact, 11. Right, I actually signed up 11. And some of them were very much all about building rapport. They really were. One of them is I've signed up what I call the big man in the area. I've signed up the local farmer who owns all the land that I see. He is head of the parish council. So he's actually influential in terms of saying yes, the nod to our planning permission to have our extension done. He's actually intrinsic to my networking locally. He was an important step, what I call a step in to the community. And I didn't do it all in one fell meeting. And I'm explaining this because this is how you prevent objections. I've actually met him several times. He's come to our house when I've been weeding on my hands and knees out in the front garden. He's come by while I've been putting boxes of eggs out. He's been at a soiree at Christmas that another neighbour laid on. So what I've done each time we've met up, and when it was the Jubilee we met up, I have built what we call rapport. I haven't gone in for the kill, the big sell. It's been something that he started to realise I'm a fixture, I'm a person, and I'm a person that keeps my word. This is networking. This is real networking. Okay. So when the right moment came by one day that he and I were just chatting, I said to him, do you know what, Barry? I need to see you. Now, I want you to know the confidence in which I do this stuff. I said, do you know what? I am saving so many people hundreds and hundreds of pounds on the things that are terribly important at the moment, our boring bills at home. And it would be most remiss of me not to offer you a neighbour. Now, actually, if you think about that, isn't that doing a good deed for somebody? Giving them the chance. So the way that I've put it is a way of care. And it's not forceful, but it is with confidence. And so he turned around and he said to me, oh, do you know what? I've been with the supplier since the year dot. So I said to him, that means you've been with BT for your phone and broadband. You're probably with Southern Electric for electric. And he went, how do you know? I said, because I just do. Now, what he turned around and said was, Lisa, the only reason I would ever consider changing is if I knew somebody. And actually, it would be a good idea to look at this because I have got to know you. Now, isn't that what we say this is all about? Know, like, trust. Yeah. So that is going to give you an idea of how it happens. It didn't mean that the appointment was all plain sailing, but the rapport had already been built up. So that's what I'm trying to say in the beginning. Now, people sometimes get, oh, my wife deals with that. My husband deals with that. My partner deals with that. I want to ask somebody. So let's ask Fran. Fran, why do you think that objection comes up?
It's a really easy way for them not to have to say yes.
Yes,
it's the first thing.
Yeah, it's actually not an objection. It's a they're trying to be what they consider kind to you because they're really not interested. Now,
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It's a get out, doesn't it? It's a get out. It's a reason to get out.
It doesn't matter if you offer them, oh, well, that's fine. We'll wait to a moment when we can see both of you. I promise you that what will happen is, in by and large, they'll find another objection, because what they're trying to do is they don't want it. It is one of those questions. Now, it doesn't mean it always goes like that, because if you set the appointment up right, the first thing you always do, if there are, I always say to when I meet someone, so is there two of you in the house that makes decisions? Now that's a good way of getting around that. We could have same-sex partnerships, we could have mother-daughter partnerships, we could have any kind of partnership. I always just say, if there's two of you in the house that makes decisions together, wouldn't it be a great idea to come and see you both? Now that's a way of getting round it.
Mhm.
Now they've got to come up with another excuse if they don't want you. Okay, so there's a loop round. Okay, so what other things do I get? I've put it down here. Well, Martin Lewis never mentions you. So I say to them, now listen, what does Big Al say? He says, if they say it, it's true. If we say it, they raise an objection. So what you say is, you're absolutely right. He doesn't. Do you know why? Throw the question back and they'll fumble because they won't know. And then I say, well, the reason he doesn't is because UW is the only company that won't pay him a commission to go up his leaderboard. And I'll say, if you go 8 pages into his site, you'll start to find out how the man has made his millions. It's not all free advice. He does a lot of good, but also he makes a lot of money. Now you're starting to make them think differently, because you are now throwing in the mix, well, actually, perhaps this man isn't quite as authentic as he makes himself out to be. Yeah? So there's a good way. In fact, it's not an objection. What you're actually doing is just answering a very valid question. Okay. Now here's a great one. Oh, I never put all my eggs in one basket. And I always say, why ever not? Oh, I wouldn't dream of doing that. I want control, they say. Now this one's a corker, and I'll tell you why. Because the reality is, this is another one, like Fran says, that they're trying to get out. Some people are terrified of change. In fact, a lot of people are terrified of change. If you think about it, you meet people, they've never moved all their lives. You meet people that are proud to say, I've been in my job 47 years. You meet people that have had the same suite in their lounge for 30 years. Ugh. Everyone to their own. All right. What you've got to understand is people don't like change. And when they come up with this one, it's usually that they don't like change. I say to them, well, you know, when you've got all your eggs, as you put it, in one basket, you're actually safeguarding yourself a lot more, because there's one direct debit. And if one thing goes wrong in any area of those services, you have the control. You can just stop that direct debit at any time, and you've actually got more control because you're stopping payment for everything. And you see their face and it's like, oh, I never thought of that. But you see, there is a way of explaining things to people. And I say, well, having been in this with this company for nearly 20 years this November, hand on heart, I can say, of course, there's the odd thing that goes wrong. You know, when there's humans involved, there's error. Humans are fallible. But the mark of a good company is how it's sorted out. And I've always discovered that it's sorted out really well. And do you know why? Because there are amazing people and they're called partners. And we partner with the company. And we are like a wonderful PA that acts and helps people through what we call the transfer process. And we make the difference. You know, even to the point, I don't know if any of you have experienced it already, but because I've done so much in the last week, even though I signed up a gentleman on Thursday, his gas electric went live by Saturday. That's how fast the energy is going now. He rang me up on Monday because he remembered we were away for a long weekend, having a nice holiday. And he rang me up yesterday and he said, oh, Lisa, I've got these meter readings. He said, but I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. I know you showed us when you were with us. And I said, I tell you what, Peter, sometimes the app can be a bit funny on the first reading. Why don't you just give me those readings and why don't I submit them for you? And he said, oh, would you do that for us? I said, yeah. I said, done. Consider it done. Oh, he said, that's amazing. And he turned around and said, I knew there was a reason why I signed up with you. Now, this is the smallest thing in the world. But do you know what? You wouldn't get that with any other company, would you? They hadn't met him. They hadn't bothered to go and see him, sit there, go through everything. That's the difference. And those, what I'm telling you now is a testimonial. Those are the little testimonials that you have to explain to people when you meet them. These help bring down their fears, because we all know fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And they have fears because they don't know what they don't know. And that's a hard place to get to. They don't know at the moment that this is the best thing since sliced bread. Of course, you only know that if you've got all the services. All right, I'm just putting that one in again. Okay. So that's the reality. So when they hear you speaking with absolute confidence about the way things are, they're going to think to themselves, well, maybe I'll give this a try. Okay. So what about the one never heard of UW? Anybody ever had that? I have loads. In fact, when I do my presentation, you know, the first page, the purple page, what UW is all about. The first question, because I want to engage with the prospect, especially when we're on screen. This is hard work when you're Zooming. First question is, so besides your friend here recommending this to you, prior to him recommending, have you ever heard of Utility Warehouse? First question. And most of them say no. And I'll say, you along with about 98% of the population. So you're in good hands. You've got to put people at rest. People love to feel they're like most people. Did you know that? I'm a person that likes to be not like anyone else. I think that's why I've always been different. But it's interesting how most people want to be like most people. So as soon as you put them in the category of most, you've already made them smile. And they're thinking, oh, that's good. And then I say to them, now I'll explain why. Because Utility Warehouse doesn't waste about 200 million a year on marketing. They don't do TV, radio, newspapers, magazines, outbound calling like all the other companies. They prefer to come through recommendation. And do you know why? Because if we was going to get ourselves a plumber, we'd probably ask family and friends first, who would they recommend? Because we want a good job done, coming in the house, don't want to be ripped off at a fair price. And they go, oh yeah. Now, all of a sudden you've helped them immediately. That fear's come down, why I've not heard of them. And it all makes sense. Yeah. Is that a fair enough? Yeah. I've got here, what else? Oh, I love it. Here we are. Lindsay's. Ah, well, they say, I do my own research. And you know what that is? That's ego now. This is ego, huge ego. Everything, people are ruled by ego. And I say to them, oh, fantastic. So what kind of research have you done? Ask them. Where have you gone? What sites have you been on? pause, wait for it, see what they come back with. Here's a great one to say to them. Sorry, who did you say your present provider for broadband was? And they'll say, let's say it's BT. I'll say, okay, BT. Everybody knows BT. I'll say to them, okay, so have you ever put into Google problems with BT? I'll say, put it in and watch it come up. You will see so much stuff, so much slating of BT. It's not true. In fact, do the same for TalkTalk. Do it for Vodafone. Do it for any company, and you will find lots and lots of bad press, as you would call it. And say to them, do you know why? Because the British are the most negative, moaning lot out. And they just love to let rip on the internet, because in reality, they're hiding behind the internet, and they'll moan and groan wonderfully. So whoever they're with, if they say to you, I do my own research, I have been with British Gas for 40 years. I've got shares with the company. I like British. Say to them, well, it's not British, because it's actually Centrica, and that's French. Okay, that's the first thing. And if you've got shares, fantastic. But you know what? In order to make those shares anything viable, stop giving them profits back through paying higher prices with them. And they look at you and they go, what do you mean? I say, well, you're paying more than you need to, because you're paying for all that incredible marketing that they do. And we've all seen the profits, haven't we, of BP and Shell and all of them, and British Gas, and say to them, yeah, great, but the reality is, do you know I can't make gas any better? Do you know I can't make the electricity any better? But what I can promise you is far superior customer service at a far better price. And all that money that is going to reduce from your bills, I'm sure you can find better things to spend it on. Try not to use the word save, savings, because everybody uses that word. All right. Try and use words that are a little bit different. So when they say, I do my own research, say to them, oh, right. So where was it? Where did you see all that? What I have available, and I'm going to share my screen very quickly. Let me find it. This is interesting. I thought I had it ready. Maybe I didn't. Oh, I did. Hang on, folks. I did have it. But I've been looking at other things. I've been looking at wedding invitations. Right, here we go. This is my partner portal. We're at the desktop, the dashboard. Okay. I want to wait and show you. Can everybody see promotion progress and all of that? Excuse me one moment.
This is on there.
Yeah.
I'm on my 4:30 Zoom coaching. Everybody's watching me. I'll call you back. That was Mr. Craig Casey. Right, here we go. So I want you to go write this down. So it's the learning portal. And the very quickest way is go to the A to Z. Okay. And then when you go there, I want you to go to O for objections. And there's a little section of handling objections. Look at that. And it's jogger, chatting away. And there's a download. And one I produced earlier, if you can see that, what they ask and what you could ask. Okay, so a few things like, how green is UW? Will I be without power? No. You all know that, don't you? You're never going to be without power. It's not something that a company can do, all right? It has to be supply. Remind them that the only thing that changes is the billing, not actually the supply coming through. Do you know what I actually think they think? And this is going to make a few of you smile. I'm going to stop there a minute. I think they think that a different set of gas comes down those pipes. No, I do. I had somebody say to me, I've got green gas. There's no such thing. You've got to remember that these people don't know much about anything in this industry. And as time goes on, you'll realise they know very little. You know, it's the same gas. You do realise that. That's going down the pipes. It's the same electricity in the cables. It's just the billing. All right. So they'll never be without gas and electric. Okay, that's a nice, easy one. Let's go back. Mobile. Is the signal any good? Okay, Liz, what would be your first thoughts on that one? Is the signal any good?
Depends. If it was somebody in my area, then I would say, well, I've got it and I have no issues, which happened last week when I had an appointment with somebody on our new development who asked me that. So I said, I was with Utility Warehouse as a customer, had all their services, have my mobile with them, and I have no problems with the signal. So there would be no problem with their signal either. They live 6 doors down the road.
Very true, Liz, but I'm going to add to that.
Right.
Where we live, there is no signal. There's no EE, no 3, no O2, no Vodafone, nothing. How am I managing to talk on this phone?
Because UW is backed up or through EE, which has the main
Emergencies.
I've got
yeah,
Wi-Fi
from agency, yeah, because they're putting all their money into to help with emergencies. So we piggyback it.
It's none of that. Yeah, we use EE, but it's the biggest 4G coverage, but I've got free Wi-Fi calling with UW. And I can make and receive calls just like perfect. In fact, I don't even use a landline phone. This is it. So when someone says, oh, but what's the signal like? And I'll say, well, it's got the biggest 4G coverage over the UK. And if you're in areas like I live, where there is no signal for any network, I've got free Wi-Fi calling. You've covered it. How easy is it to switch? Ah, well, that's where we partners come in. We do everything. We get the pack code, so you keep your number, you keep your data. We ensure that your phone's unlocked, and it's all nice and simple. And you have somebody that actually does this stuff for you, unlike faceless companies in far off countries. Okay, so there's a great answer, the objection. Right, is the speed going to be the same as with my current provider? I'm going to answer that immediately. If they're down the OpenReach network, please try and not call it the BT network, because it no longer is. It's OpenReach, which are separate to BT. The only other network is Virgin, which is totally different cable. So whoever they've got, if they take the same bandwidth of speed, it will basically be the same. What will make the difference is the router, the quality of the router, or any Wi-Fi boosting equipment they choose to have in their house. But I promise that the same thing happens from the exchange to the cabinet, from the cabinet to the property. What makes a massive difference is if you can get fibre to the premises, which is fibre right up to your property. Okay, but the reality is I have switched hundreds and hundreds of people from every other broadband provider. Yes, sometimes there's been the odd hiccup. It's usually technical. It's something that can be sorted out. Sky always seem to be, the customers are really happy when they come over. I believe our router is better quality, and that's the reason why. And again, you see, I'm speaking from experience because I know, because I'm using it. Very difficult to talk about this if you haven't got it. Okay. So, do I need to change my number? There's another quick one. Right, folks, if they use a landline phone, please start telling everybody that the government has got a design with their Great Reset that by 2025 they want to get rid of all landline phones. That's the initiative that's going on. So those people that are holding on to landlines like bitter grim death, I've got a landline, but I've never given the number out, not even to my mum, because I'm already getting used to this, because it's going to happen. All right, so the number doesn't have to change. Even if they're with a Virgin, they can retain that number, but there's often a 2-day difference. Okay, so there'll be the broadband goes on at one point and the number will change, and there's usually a 2-day difference. It used to be a fortnight difference. That's come down. Everything has improved. When I meet people that are on Virgin, if it's plainly obvious they don't use their landline, and let's be honest, lots of younger people don't. By the way, younger, I'm on about anyone sort of 50 and under now, unfortunately. I still consider I'm younger, but there you go, I'm definitely not. Somebody actually said I was old the other day, so there you go. But anyway, younger people tend not to use landlines. They're all using their mobiles, and most of them have got unlimited data, minutes, text. Yeah, and they are not a bit perturbed. They couldn't give a fig what the number is. So if you get somebody like that and they're not worried, please say to them, right, we're going to make life simple. We're going to order you a brand new line, and you would anyway if they were on Virgin, and you're going to have a brand new number. The beauty of this is Virgin don't know that you're leaving them. Hop, hop. Now there's a crossover of 30 days, but what it does mean is that once your line is set up and your broadband set up, and do unplug the Virgin router when you put the UW one on, otherwise you'll get them conflicting, okay? But you can have the confidence that everything is tickety-boo, working perfect, before you say goodbye to Virgin. You've actually got the best of both worlds. There's just a 1-month crossover. Okay, now a little naughty that Virgin have recently done is they now have done the same as BT, and that is if they have a TV package, they can no longer have standalone TV with Virgin. They only offer Virgin packages with phone and broadband. So they won't let people just have the TV. That's only happened in the last few months. Okay. So then say to them when they say, oh, well, I've got to have my channels, ask them if their channels are important. How important is TV to you? Okay. And then say, well, there's loads of alternatives and they're cheaper. Did you know that most people these days have got a smart TV with Freeview built in? I've been helping a lot of people this last month actually say goodbye to Virgin, say goodbye to Sky, no more TV at all, because with just an aerial in the house going into their TV, they've got Freeview. And with the internet, they've already got loads of channels. I met a lady, this is absolutely true. She was paying £96 a month to Virgin. And I said, Maureen, what channels do you watch? And she went, oh, BBC One, BBC Two, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I do like a bit of Sky News, and I like so-and-so. And I said to her, are you telling me that's all you watch? And she said, yeah, why? I said, why are you paying Virgin for it all over again when you've got it for free? She said, what do you mean it's free? I said, it's in your TV. I said, you've got a TV there with all of that in there. So she went with it and she got rid of it all. And we did have to get a TV man out, and somebody I know that's been brilliant. And he charged a little sum. I think it was about £40 for the day. And he sorted everything out and got all her TVs working. In her mind, spending £40 to say goodbye to £96 a month was well worth it, because her phone and broadband was now £21.60. How good is that? So folk, have I answered a few objections or have you got some for me? Anything I've not answered? Yes, Alan? Unmute.
You mentioned something earlier about, oh, I have shares in whatever company, and you are handling that as an objection. But UW also have, well, shareholders, and I wondered whether the same,
No,
whether
what I was saying, Alan, was that people will use that as if it's an objection. They can still stay a shareholder. They don't actually have to have the services with the company. Oh, and their shares won't be affected by leaving that company. It's just that they seem to think the one and the two go together and they don't. There are lots of shareholders in Telecom Plus that I don't think are possibly customers. Although saying that, I know Charles Wiggader. He doesn't let anybody get away with it. Anybody else? Anyone else got a totally different objection that I've not answered or I've brought up? Anything else, or are we there? What I would say, it's all about the setting the scene, consolidating the appointment. Now, I've done this one before, but I sort of feel the consolidating of appointments is the big factor that a lot of people miss. And we might have a rerun of that. So guys, we're 7 minutes over. We're very naughty. I better go. Lovely to see you all. It will be recorded and see you next week. Oh, and just a quick plug. Please, if you're nearby, do come along to the Bournemouth Buzz, which is not this Thursday, the following Thursday. And that is on the 11th. Come to the Bournemouth Buzz, put it in your diary as if it's your birthday. And if it is, I'll bring you a cake. Bye, everyone.